I just finished Signalis and I don't really know what to feel. For years, this is one game I always looked at, but never actually tried. And since survival horror is practically my thing, I was expecting something solid. What I wasn't expecting was how quickly it would stop feeling like a normal horror game and start feeling like something I was wandering through, something a lot more personal. By the end of it, I wasn't trying to solve every piece of it. I was trying to hold on to whatever this game was trying to make me feel. But the moment I booted it up, I was dropped into this eerie, almost beautiful sci-fi atmosphere. You wake up alone in the wreck of a ship with barely any context, barely any comfort, just enough to keep moving on. A locked airlock, a suit, fragments of notes, a strange book that clearly mattered more than I understood. Then a message, a white-haired girl, and one line in the game that it puts really early in your head, and it never really lets go of you. Remember our promise. At that point, I didn't know her name. I don't know what the promise was. I didn't even fully know what I was looking at. I just knew Signalis had hooked me with a question instead of an answer. And honestly, that was kind of the whole game. Once I made it below the surface, the game changed. Now I wasn't exploring a wreck anymore. I was in Sierpinski, this underground facility that felt less like a workplace and more like a machine that had already grounded everyone inside of it. The deeper I went, the clearer the world became in the worst way possible. Concrete walls, humming CRTs, propaganda everywhere, rules, reports, surveillance. Eventually the game gives you the basics. Replicas, they're synthetic workers and soldiers, gestalts, actual humans. And this whole place felt like it was built on control. Helpful information? Yeah, sure, but comforting? Not even a little bit. Everyone was either missing, dead, or just wrong on their ideologies. And every room felt like someone had left me in the middle of a routine they were never gonna come back and finish. What Signalis does really well is that it never lets you feel above the story. You don't get a neat explanation. You get names, fragments, contradictions. Alina, Isa, Adler, Falke, the white-haired girl from the Signal, and I'm trying to connect all of it. But during all that, I'm also counting bullets, checking doors, and praying the thing I dropped actually stays dead. Even the puzzles added to this feeling. You're checking notes found around the place, the radio frequencies, safe codes, key items. You're always moving forward, but you're never really feeling secure. Instead of that being confusing in a bad way, it started making me feel exactly what the game wanted me to feel. I felt isolation. I was off balance, never fully sure if I was understanding anything correctly. But mechanically, the game backs that up the whole time. The inventory is tiny, ammo matters, combat is something I dealt with, but not something I ever really dominated. Even when a hallway was technically clear, it never felt safe for long. Normally that kind of friction can kind of get on my nerves, but here, it made everything a whole lot stronger. Because every hallway cost something, every detour felt risky, and every puzzle solved didn't feel like a victory. It was just almost as I got permission to go through, to go one layer deeper into somewhere that I probably should have never been going into. That was around the point where the search stopped feeling like something objective based for me. I wasn't trying to get through the facility anymore. I was trying to understand why this whole thing felt so melancholic. Because eventually, the personal side starts pushing through hard. The girl stopped feeling like a vague image and starts feeling like the center of everything. Ariane and Penrose, the ship you start on, stopped feeling like just an opening location. It becomes the whole emotional core of the whole game. The more memories and notes I found, the more this stopped feeling like a mystery I was supposed to crack, and more like a relationship I was slowly uncovering after it had already fallen apart. Two people trapped together for so long that routine turned into closeness. Closeness turned into love. And then isolation, time, and sickness turned that love into something painful enough to warp everything around it. That hit way harder than I expected, because under all the surreal stuff, Signalis started feeling less like a puzzle box and more like grief with nowhere to go. And then the game pulls its biggest move. gives you what feels like an ending. And it basically tells you, no. You're still here. That fake ending was the moment the whole thing really clicked for me. Not in a, oh, now I understand the lore kind of way, but more in a, okay, this game is not trying to be clean kind of way. After that, places stop being stable. Time stops feeling linear. Memory and reality start bleeding into each other so hard that trying to separate them starts feeling kind of pointless. And honestly, I think that's the right way to meet Signalis. Not by asking what is literally happening every second, but by asking, what is this making me feel? For me, it was loneliness, devotion, decay, and that awful feeling of being stuck inside something that keeps repeating because it can't let itself end. By the final stretch, Adler didn't feel like just an obstacle. Falke didn't feel like just a boss. The whole place felt infected by repetition, longing, and a promise that had outlived the people attached to it. And Elster stopped feeling like just a protagonist. She started feeling like someone held together by one last purpose. Keep going. Find her. Remember. Finish it. Whether read all of this as a cosmic horror, broken memory, or grief twisting reality into something unbearable, the effect is kind of the same. By then, I wasn't chasing answers anymore. I just wanted to see if the game would let any of these people rest once and for all. When I reached the ending I got, it didn't feel triumphant. It felt brutal. Like the entire game had been leaning toward one act of mercy, and then forcing me to sit with how cruel mercy can truly look. There was relief in it, but not comfort. And that's why I sat there after the credits, not really knowing what to feel, because Signalis isn't scary in the usual way. It doesn't rely on some cheap noise or constant shock. It gets under your skin by making you feel alone, by making love feel fragile, by making memory feel unreliable, and by refusing to clean any of that up for you. I went in wanting a solid survival horror game, and I got that, but I also got something lonelier, stranger, and way more intimate than I expected. I still don't think I fully understand Signalis, and honestly, I don't think that's a flaw. I think that some games want to be solved. This one wanted to be felt. And yeah, I definitely felt it.